Hi Capricorns, and welcome to your December 2020 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky here to talk about the energies coming in for your sign in the month of December. Happy birthday to those of you aging up this month. I hope it's a nice time for you. Don't freak out too much at some of these crazy energies coming up. I know we've got quite the triad there with Ten of Swords, the Tower, and the Devil. But it makes sense with the transits that's happening for Capricorn, having Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in your sign. The level of which you are activated right now is off the charts. So that's kind of what I'm feeling for this month, is something is off the charts. Something is potentially really, really successful. Maybe big changes in reputation, big changes in status, big change in your portrayal, okay? 10th house energy being so concentrated, as we are going to have the sun also moving into Capricorn this month. But it does that right as Jupiter and Saturn move into Aquarius. So it's like a passing of the ball to the sun, and the sun's going to kind of absorb all that Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto energy. And we are, I think, going to be tested by the end of this month by what our needs are, what we want to contribute our time to, and what we think our value and resources or energy can go to. So I'm thinking that Capricorn might be wanting to really acquire in the month of December, using this last bit of Saturnian energy to make something real. So I'm feeling like new cars, new houses, new bigger things are really on Capricorn's mind right now. Also, the depletion of debt or a debt-free lifestyle, things like that are coming up. And it's like, how can you have both? Capricorn is kind of wavering a little bit to me on its philosophy when it comes to expenditure, spending time, money, and energy. That could definitely use a glance right now in this month. So intuitively, the main overarching theme I'm feeling for you, Capricorn, is the ability to kind of annex what mentality or what philosophy or what aspect of your life is no longer working. So reality checks coming in, seeing that a business or that an enterprise or that something that you've been putting a lot of yourself into is in a weird tone. Okay, this isn't going to be for every Capricorn, so this message is going to kind of be multi-layered. So there's this one group of Capricorn people I'm feeling who have been working on an enterprise or working on a trade or working on, some project for maybe the last 5 years. And that is up for a big change, okay? And if we can't work with those oncoming tides, with those changing tides, with those changes in waves, I don't think that it's good to take on anything too new or too crazy or too overwhelming until you can get that sense of stability, and until you have the sense, okay, I'm fine with doing this forever, or this is something that I always want to be involved with. If you feel like you want out, because that's kind of what I'm feeling, some Capricorns want out of what they're doing. If that's the case, I wouldn't really take on anything new. I would try to hold center, I would lay low, I would coast and get on the other side of the new year before you go too crazy. But if you establish a successful formula, or if you establish something that you really love and you see a potential point and you see that, you're getting this new energy shining from within, you can take on new things. You can really go big, So somewhere that Capricorn is tested in December is on its decompression. So how a Capricorn decompresses. What makes you feel like you're gaining back energy, Capricorn? Pluto and Saturn and Jupiter in your sign has really put a focus onto where you get the energy to do what you do, what motivates you, what mindset gets results in your life. So what I would look to if I were a Capricorn would be, what makes me feel confident? What makes me feel rested? What am I always wanting to do every day? What am I always dreaming of? What am I always thinking of? I would look to those things and really test them out, okay? With the Devil coming up, I keep looking to the Devil here, and there's something about you being really tied up in a coping mechanism, or really tied up in a grass is green on the other side complex, or just really tied up in something that, or not allowing yourself to let what you want to do be a center point in your life. So it keeps things full of hassle. You know, there's something about hassle this month, and probably for the last few years, I mean, the last 10 years with Pluto in your sign is always a hassle. That's getting closer to changing as well. And with this big shift coming up with, you know, Jupiter and Saturn going into Aquarius right at the solstice, right at the time that the sun goes into your sign. I mean, this is crazy stuff, Capricorn. I'm going to be making videos all about it. Make sure that you've subscribed to the channel and turn on the bell notifications, because I'll talk specifically how that relates to you, Capricorn, in a specific video. But the fortune changes up a little bit here. Ace of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune, Page of Wands, Knight of Wands. Look at how much motivation and will, like a valor, strong will, ability to get a result there is. That is right alongside this weird coping mechanism and this feeling of betrayal, also this feeling of collapse or perhaps even degradation I'm feeling for Capricorn. So it is very volatile and extreme, as it would be with those planets. And it's like you have everything good and everything bad right in front of you here in December. So it's the perfect month to see things for what they are and to know what you want to go forward with and not. And really to be able to make those executive calls and those executive choices that play certain things up and release other things. Always with the Tower and Ten of Swords, there's the potential for like trauma or the potential for a very strong catalyzing pain, but it's never in vain. Okay, Ten of Swords in the Tower. These things aren't happening to you in vain. This heaviness or this feeling of a dark cloud is not in vain. It's trying to highlight something. It's trying to highlight a pattern, or it's trying to show you, what gets a good result, what doesn't get a good result. So you can take control of that. I think Capricorn does have to take charge of things. I think Capricorn might have a few decisions, tough decisions even to make in December. And ultimately, knowing where that Ace of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune, Page of Wands energy is. What do I love? What makes my day brighter? What makes my motivation feel better? Okay. And on that note, Capricorns, let's talk about the week to week. So the Tower rooted down by Wheel of Fortune for your week number 1 of December. Week 1 and week 2 are really the last 2 weeks of having this Jupiter Saturn in Capricorn strong. By the 3rd week, it's already transitioning into Aquarius. So this is the final moments. I made a video called The Last Moments of This Rare Astrology Transit, which was talking about the last degrees of Capricorn. You guys should check that video out. It's on my channel. And that kind of sums up a more broad view of what I would say for these first 2 weeks of December, where it's like the strongest representation of what you're about in these first 2 weeks, of what you've come so far with, of the experiences that have shaped and molded you. That's coming up in the first 2 weeks in a really powerful way. But specifically in the first week, anything that's not meant to be here will not stay past the first week. Anything that is keeping you in that dark cloud has to be questioned, okay? Because Wheel of Fortune, it's like your fortune is trying to change. Your experience of life is trying to change. We're getting out of this dark, dreary, never-ending cycle of woe is me. And you got to want that, It's really easy. Sometimes we get very subconsciously addicted to that woe is me cycle because it's tough stuff getting out of that. And there is a certain type of retribution that we receive of ease and simplicity by being in that, of just knowing that things are going to be difficult and venting and stuff like that. And we don't realize sometimes that we don't actually take an easy ticket out of that when it's available. I think that easy ticket is really coming for you, and it's time to take that in the first week. So cutting ties with someone potentially in the first week or second week, cutting your losses. I said this for Sagittarius as well because you two are similar right now. Cutting losses, cutting ties, accepting I don't want to say accepting defeat, because even what feels like a defeat can be a victory. Remember that backhanded fortune with Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto in Capricorn. What is a defeat now may end up being your biggest victory. What leaves you now, what is no longer available after this time, might just clear up enough space for you to get into a situation that is better than anything you've ever had. Keep that in mind, Capricorn. Capricorn can get very linear with things and thinks, oh no, this breakup, that's bad and that will never be good. Oh no, this business went upside down, that's bad, that'll never be good. It's like face value. That's that, period, paragraph. There is a more ritualistic, alchemical nature of things coming on. So that linear nature will not suit you moving into this oncoming year. So breakup, maybe this is the perfect opportunity for you to get to know yourself. Business upside down, maybe this is the perfect opportunity to push you into the industry you've always wanted to be in. It could go any way. Like those are very typical interpretations. But you got to think of things as backhanded fortune. Wheel of Fortune, the Tower, Ten of Swords is very backhanded fortune. Anything bad is good in a lot of ways. So week number 2, Page of Wands rooted down by Ten of Swords. Same exact concept, very similar combination of energies. Will you allow yourself to not fall into this pit of darkness, energetically? Will you allow yourself to see that even like lack can be abundance in some way? The only way to really get through this time without getting stuck with something or stuck in this pattern of heaviness is to see it as some kind of backhanded fortune. And that does take a little bit of maybe suspension of disbelief in a very small dose for now until you see those results. But in the second week, yes, that could look like an inspiring breakup, an inspiring ending. Okay. Inspiration through release or letting go. Ten of Swords is always about release and letting go. Page of Wands is about creativity and life force and having energy, feeling energized. So yeah, it's not the most wonderful combination of energies. Like it feels a bit like manic to me, but I think that it's just also a reminder, like, don't let these Ten of Swords Tower moments be only black darkness. They've got to offer you something more, and they always do. So that first 2 weeks is like you see how things already change up moving forward, but you've got to just let what's no longer right be that way. And I already see this a lot with Capricorns, actually, and I see a lot of Capricorns doing really well with this, where they are seeing that, okay, through accepting help or through having assistance, things might actually look a lot better. That sort of rigid, stubborn, do it yourself attitude, I see a lot of Capricorns starting to kind of get out of that a little bit. It's not that that's bad. That has its place, of course, but teamwork, themes like group projects, having family help, things like that are really good for Capricorn right now. Watch out for taking on too much by yourself. Week number 3, you've got Ace of Pentacles rooted down by Knight of Cups. So new wealth already. 3rd week, Jupiter and Saturn change signs. It's like weight is lifted off of your shoulders. Really beautiful. To the extent that I think that some of you might not even expect how much easier things can really get. And yeah, always when that happens, we sometimes have to face our demons or face our, unexpected shadows that we didn't see coming, like that weight lifts and all of a sudden now we have that new perspective. So that is kind of the overtone of this reading, is that as you get better, as things get easier, as you move on from things, you do kind of see yourself differently, or you have to be able to be okay with it. Even like the strongest people have withdrawals to difficult chapters as things get easier. So, try to not demand too much of yourself. Try to not get too crazy. You have a really good idea coming in the 3rd week of December, perhaps a really profitable idea. You might kind of hold it close to your chest for now, though. Knight of Cups is about, keeping things a little bit quiet, keeping things under the radar a little bit. So watch out for that. But yeah, so if you get like a really good new idea, sit with it for a while. Let it just be with you for a while and try to really expand on it yourself. So like ideas for new businesses, ideas for new careers, anything, ideas for a new health journey. Really expand on it yourself, I think, without too many other people participating before you go there, because I kind of feel like people might be a little bit discouraging right now. Everybody's going through such a personal journey with this shift we're coming up to that you got to be careful for trying to involve other people too much. Like, what do you think of this new idea for a business? People will be like, I don't think that's real. That sounds completely, unsuccessful. And then you don't do it because of someone's bad, advice or something. So watch out for that. But moving into the fourth week, Knight of Wands, rooted down by the devil, you are galloping right through those shackles. So those shackles are going to release. I really think the devil has come up because, again, as you're moving on, you've got a few shackles to cut off. You've got a few things to pull away from. So don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of using your creativity to get out of shackles, okay? Motivating yourself away from shackles. I told Sagittarius that they needed to kind of get into like an eye of the tiger moment. And, it wasn't too late to kind of, wake up early and just, get into those running pants and go for the jog with the sort of the eye of the tiger background music. That's sort of what I'm feeling for you guys there too. You've got to really be your best, most confident person. Like you've got to stand up for yourself. You've got to really do things for you. You've got to not rely on other people to get you into the mindset you need to be in to be successful. That's the main error of this Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. If there are any, it's really not a very erroneous energy period. But reliances or needing other people to get us into the right mood to do something or the right place to do something, that codependence has to really be non-existent. You got to get yourself up and do things. And then I think that you pull away really easily from those shackles and feel much better. But ultimately, Capricorn, December of 2020 is like such a half and half month. The first half is heavy because you're dealing with some of the most strong outer planet transits that any sign could. But the second half is really much more breathable and much more light if you let it be, because that pressure releases. So that's really beautiful. And I think y'all will come out of this month with a much more healthy mindset if you let yourself. Anyway, though, Capricorns, I'm going to put together an extended reading over on Patreon for you all. If you want to come and check that out, that will be linked below and in the center of your screen now. You can get all the extended readings as well as weekly forecasts that are only on Patreon. So let's go ahead and jump over to that. Anyway, your likes, comments, and subscribes here on YouTube also make my day. Let's do this extended.